accurate.
Pretty accurate. All right, we're live.
Although, to be fair, I legit ordered that DoorDash at like $4.58.
But what about all the other stuff?
What do you mean?
The movies.
What about it, Jarrett? This is not new.
Other stuff you the whole week.
And there's plenty of time. No, look.
You're just embarrassing me in front of my friends, Mom.
There's plenty of times where Jarrett does the exact same thing.
Yeah, but I'm quick with it.
You're quick, but at least
you never started. You never know.
Gosh.
All right, just a heads up, Andrew, we're live, so don't start yelling about washing your pussy and stuff.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
As you said, we're alive.
That's cool. It gets edited out.
Yeah.
All right, let me tweet the stream.
Tweet it. Tweet it. All right, let's see here. Find the stream. Tweet it out. It's actually. Audio's good. Copy link.
Can you hear me? Do I sound okay?
Yeah, I mean, you sound good on mine.
You sound beautiful.
No, Lord.
Dun, 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 dun. Set the tweet. Did you say tweet it out and you're not following us? Excuse me?
I'm following you. What are you talking about?
On Twitter?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, you are actually.
You're
the actual worst.
Sure. With our host. What's your Twitter handle?
At Dane is Chaps.
Dane is Chaps. Nice.
It's just silent phone. Isn't that what it is? At silent phone?
Yeah, silenced phone. Like with an ED at the end of silence. Silencio. How recently did you start following us?
Oh, I just followed you this morning. Like this isn't
that's
like
what I thought. Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, they have it. I was like, they have Twitter. I need to remember this.
Yeah. I love it though. Love it. Okay. Live chat. Pull it up. Let's get it. I'm ready if you are, Jarrett.
Yeah, I'm ready. You doing the intro or me?
I will.
All right, we're gonna start this thing in 3, 2, 1.
This meeting is.
Hey everybody, and that was new. Hey everybody, and welcome to Silence Your Cell Phones. My name's Kevin. Here, as always, with my friend and co-host Jarrett.
Hello.
And today we have a special guest with us. And you've heard his name, the young Dane McLone.
Young. I turned 30 in a week, so I'm not young.
Hey.
Younger than us.
That's correct. Hey, but we're pretty much the same age, so
yeah,
it's
a mind state thing.
Yeah, it's just a number. No, so today I'm actually super excited. Dane is our resident expert of sorts in awards, like the Oscars, and so we've got him. All right, who's got their audio up? That's gonna bother me. Was that one of y'all?
It's not me.
It's probably me.
It's okay. I'm just hearing it twice in my head, and I'm like, "Yo, what is going on?"
Someone's reverbing.
Do I need to go throw headphones on? That's what I'm saying. I don't have them fancy headphones, man.
Oh no, you're perfectly fine.
No, if you just mute the YouTube page.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, I'm not even on YouTube.
Yeah,
that's just coming from.
Just coming from the speakers.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Then we'll deal with it.
Yeah, technical difficulties happen from time to time. So before we get into Oscar nominations and snubs, things like that, Dane, let me ask you, what did you get into this week?
Yeah, so as far as movies go, I got a good bit in. I watched Blood Simple, which was the Coen brothers' first movie. I watched Identity, which was just like a 2003 murder mystery that kind of hopped up on my page on Netflix. Then I watched Munich, The Edge of War, which is a 2001 movie about like right before World War II happened. It's a pretty good one with the guy from 1917. I don't remember his name.
Yep.
Then I watched some of y'all's homework. So I watched Dirty Dancing, The Notebook, Old Yeller. And then I watched Nightmare Alley and a foreign film called Raging Fire, which is a pretty awesome like Chinese action movie. If you guys want to check that out.
Nice.
How'd you like Nightmare Alley? Because I was the only one that had seen it in our group, and so
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I mean, I thought it was. I thought Bradley Cooper was awesome. It's one of those full circle movies, and
yeah,
I love that. Like last like 20, 30 minutes of it, you're like, I know what's coming, and then it happens and it delivers. And I like when movies are kind of like that because the whole time you're just entranced, everything going on, and then start geeking out and it's pretty fun. So
yeah, I'm a big Del Toro fan, so
me too. I like his aesthetics. I think that's probably something that you would agree with is like whenever he makes movies, like they just seem magical. Like they don't look like a regular movie. Like they look like something that you're just like, this is what my dreams look like.
Yeah, he does make a fantastical real world, which is really cool.
Well, it sounds like you had a busy week and a good week in movie watching. And I knew bringing you in that you were one of those guys that you were already kind of a huge movie buff guy. So it's fun to see you put that effort in, and I appreciate you watching our homework too. So it'll be cool later when we're giving our reviews and things like that. Jarrett, same question. How'd you fare this week in movies?
Pretty good. I saw The Tragedy of Macbeth, which was pretty. We'll probably talk about it a couple more times. I enjoyed it. I watched Bo Burnham's Inside.
Oh heck
How
yeah.
was that? Was that good?
Yeah, it is really
It's awesome.
really good watching him do an entire
Like he does a whole set in his room, right?
Yeah, in his apartment.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny, especially because he hadn't done anything live in like 6 years. Like he had been off the grid because of anxiety attacks. I watched The Notebook. I watched Rampage. I watched Demon Slayer. Caught up on that. I was at home for most of the weekend, so I didn't get a ton in. But I've been putting off Macbeth, so I really wanted to get that in. So I pushed for that this weekend. What about you? What'd you get into?
So I kind of stuck to the TV scene this week with TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
I also caught up on Demon Slayer, and we talked about it a little bit before. The last 2 weeks have been some of the most beautiful fight scenes, animation that I've seen.
It was movie budget quality in a 30-minute episode. So
it's like they took Mugen Train, the movie, and just ran with it after that. And so I kind of love the whole style. And it's a lot of fun to watch. So I did watch Demon Slayer. I also caught up on Peacemaker, which was something that
show's so good.
I didn't expect it to be as good as it is, but dude, I can't. And it's all over like the Silence Your Cell Phone's Twitter. Like most of the people that we follow are like huge fans.
Possibly because John Cena is a breakout actor of 2022. Who knows?
Yeah, no.
I loved his little rant when he was naming other people this week. I thought that was really cool.
And I know it's all improv, and so him getting to show that he's actually a good comedic actor, I can appreciate because he was dog meat in Fast 9.
Yeah,
he was
just
so
wasn't
bad.
good. The thing is I think Peacemaker is in his lane. That is a role that he can do extremely well. I think that going forward, you're probably going to see him more in comedic roles, and I think it should stay that way until maybe he learns a little bit more of like the acting side of it, because I I've never really liked his acting. Like,
I can appreciate that. Fun fact about Peacemaker: the band that did the intro got dropped by their label 5 days before the show came out.
no kidding.
Yeah, and now it's the most watched intro of all time.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I've been watching Naruto. I got into Shippuden. I just went ahead and took the leap, and I've just been watching that. So I'm like,
had you never seen Shippuden?
Yeah, I have,
okay.
But I just got in this. I'm in this phase right now where it's still kind of anime.
Yeah.
And Shippuden is one of my top 5 all time.
It's a good one. Good stories.
I watched Jackass Forever yesterday with you in theaters.
Oh, I forgot Jackass Forever. Yes.
I watched Old Yeller and Dirty Dancing, and I'll go over those as well.
Finest dog in the West.
Finest dog in the West.
Old Yeller.
And then we'll discuss that in our Everyone's a Critic, which I have with me this week because we are prepared.
Yeah, always. We never once procrastinate.
So never once. Not once has that ever happened, and that's the end of that.
So we got a pretty big episode with the Oscar nominations. So do you want to run through? Do you want to do that first, or do you just want to go ahead and run through the movies of the week that Everyone's a Critic, and then spend majority of the time pounding out the Oscars?
Yeah, we can do that.
Sure.
I think that probably is the best course of action, considering we have our guest here, and the Noms and Snubs are going to take quite a bit of time.
Yeah, sure.
So, we're going to start with our Everyone's a Critic then, I imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Would you like to go first, or you want me to go first?
Sure. I got very little to say about mine. I watched Rampage with The Rock.
Sure.
Anyone who knows me should know that I'm a kaiju whore. Godzilla, giant monsters.
See the draft.
Yeah, like it's just everything I love. And so having The Rock team up with the giant silverback gorilla fighting off bat wolves that have spike tails, I'm all for it. The movie, very mediocre. 3 stars, but enjoyable. It's your typical Rock action movie. I think it's good to throw on and just turn your brain off for an hour and 44 minutes.
Was it better than The Rundown?
I would probably put on the same. It wasn't as funny as The Rundown because his supporting cast wasn't Sean William Scott. I mean, it did have Jeffrey Dean Morgan, but I don't like when actors do Southern accents, like obnoxious Southern accents. Like it's so obvious that it's fake. He's never been in the South a day in his life.
Are you talking about The Rock?
No, Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Okay, because I was about to ask you if you'd seen the Fast and Furious movies where he plays a Texas cowboy.
Yeah.
Like The Rock's ever spent a day as a cowboy in Texas.
Yeah, but even The Rock's like twang in the Fast franchise wasn't nearly the level of what the other guy's accent was.
Was that bad? Wow.
Yeah, and he was like playing this like a cowboy-ish character, but it was fine.
I'm surprised you gave it 3 stars. Personally, I
didn't hate it. Like I would watch it again if it was on TV, but
I think I gave it 2 stars last time I watched it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's also fair. It just have really funny scenes to me. Like they're flying a helicopter and this giant alligator thing comes out of the lake for the first time, and the only thing The Rock says is, "That sucks," and I'm like, "Yeah, it does indeed suck." I was like, "What a great script."
What more say in that scenario? If you're riding in a helicopter, you're just going to be like, yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, and then he just starts shooting grenades and stuff. I'm just like, man, this is so over the top. I have to find it fun. But yeah, that's what I did for movies with animals, because mutated gorillas are animals.
Okay. Now, Dane, it's my understanding that you didn't actually give this one a watch. Is that? You've seen it.
I've seen it before.
You aren't going to watch it again, though.
Yeah, I wasn't going to watch it again.
All right, so
that's
give me
fair. Not voluntarily.
So
it came down to Nightmare Alley or Rampage, and I chose Nightmare Alley.
You made a better choice.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go with something that I had seen bits and pieces of, but never watched the movie. I never saw all of Old Yeller, the original 1957 movie. Obviously, the ending's been spoiled to me my entire life. Everybody knows what happens at the end. I was pleasantly surprised. Yeah, pleasantly surprised at how good it is. I don't know. Did Disney come out with a remastered version? Is that what they have on Disney Plus?
I'm
I don't know. I watched the same one on Disney Plus.
Okay, that's where I watched it. But
yeah,
I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I don't know if it was like the simplicity of the dialogue that made me think of a simpler time, right? In our history. Their mannerisms were different. Like, obviously this movie was made in the 1950s, which is, it's almost 70 years, so 63 years since it's been made, but it takes place even farther before that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just thought it was a really fun watch. It was very easy to watch, if that makes sense. I don't know.
I think
go ahead.
Craziest parts of that movie for me were like, you watched like real animals fight. It almost felt like an illegal snuff film, because like I'm watching a dog fight a bear. Like that was actually in the movie. And I was just like, dude, I shouldn't be watching. Like,
I was going to say that because I didn't expect, I thought they would like show a picture and then cut over somebody and I would hear the sounds of the fight.
Yeah.
I didn't think I would actually see the conflict. And so, that was
like when the older brother falls down into the hogs. Dude, that hog was the stuntman was like a grown man. I think that was one of the funniest things, was you went from like this little kid on a tree and then he fell down and it was like this 6 foot, 185-pound man getting destroyed by a hog in real life. And I was just like, dude, no wonder people hated movies in the 50s. Like some guy was like, yeah, I'm going to LA to be an actor. And the next thing you know, he's getting his leg torn off by a hog in the middle of Montana for no reason. Like it was just crazy.
Yeah. No, that's really funny because when I was watching it, it looked real. Like as real as you can make it in the 1950s. It looked authentic. And
I mean, we're not even on the moon yet, so I mean, they don't have a way. They don't have.
That's true.
Yeah, there's no CGI, so I guess you do just push someone to a pit with a boar and hope you don't.
They're like, hey, let's just get 60 hogs and let this dude fall in a pit of them and see what happens.
Yeah, they're trained, I'm sure.
Speaking of Moon, Dane, have you seen Moonfall yet? Just curious.
No, I'm not going to see that piece of crap movie.
Yeah, that's fair.
Thank you. I was so happy Jackass came out the same week Moonfall, so we had options.
Yeah, because we would have had to watch it. So me and Jarrett a couple weeks ago had to watch the 355, which was just atrocious, by the way. But we had to because it was our new movie of the week thing.
Well, I'm glad you guys took the bullet for some people, because I, for one, was not going to see the 355 unless it was just like out of nowhere. People are like, this movie is awesome. I'd be like, well, okay. I honestly thought that was going to happen with John Wick. Like when John Wick was coming out, I didn't think it was that good. And then like a month later, everyone's like, dude, this is one of the best action movies ever. And I was like, all right, well, let me go watch it. And sure enough, they were right.
I can tell you that is not the 355. So
no, it's not that. Maybe the second one will be better though, Jarrett.
I will. I don't know what I'll have to do if I have to watch the 355 too. That's future Jarrett's problem.
So I wanted to answer some of these questions though. Which character are you most able to identify with? I think Arliss, the younger brother, because he just fell in love with the pup so quick, and I'm like that, man. I love dogs, so I can't.
That kid's crazy.
Yeah, he was crazy. I would never grab a snake or a lizard or a frog, and he just did all three like in one go.
And he was just throwing rocks at people like it was no big deal. Like there would be no repercussions to hitting someone in the head with a rock. A grown man walked up to get his dog back, and this little kid sprints out like, "Give me my dog!" and starts hailing rocks at him like he's John Smoltz. Like it was ridiculous, dude. That kid is ridiculous.
It was the Wild West for a reason. Dane.
My quote, Dane, the quote that I thought was most memorable was Arliss when he said, "You quit rocking my dog."
Dude,
Both was throwing rocks at him, dude. What a savage.
Yeah, he was.
No, that was great. Were you surprised by the ending? Obviously not. If I were
Rabies
to,
is a hell of a drug, people.
yeah,
I wasn't expecting the dog to die. Of course, I was the same way. I knew that Old Yeller died, but the rabies part, I was like, that's like we don't have to experience.
What they call
rabies.
like hydrophonic or something weird like that?
Yeah,
these.
I actually wanted to. I should have made a note because I made a mental note to try to remember what they called it in the movie. You remember when is it his name's Cersei, the Mr. Cersei?
Is that the crazy or not the crazy the big guy?
Yeah, Elizabeth's dad.
Yeah,
he just dropped her off and left her there.
Hey, you talk about a real G. Elizabeth is a real G for not tattling on Old Yeller for eating all their eggs.
Facts.
She was like, "No, dude. Like, he's like, I love dogs. I'm not trying to get Old Yeller shot over some eggs."
Yeah,
sure he'll get shot later.
Wah, wah, wah. Spoiler alert: Old Yeller dies. If you were to make a movie starring animals, what would you choose and why? I would choose dogs because I love dogs. There's no.
Are you going to see that new Channing Tatum movie?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm already
prepared.
I'm going to cry. Yeah.
Bring your Kleenex, boys. It's going to be a long night.
Your Kleenex, boys.
But yeah, that was this week's Everyone's a Critic. And just so you guys know, I just want you to know. We did this. Wait, can you see that? Yeah, you can see some of the writing. This was last week, so I did make sure everything was done for Mad Max as well. I gave Old Yeller. I gave it 3.5 stars. 4.5 stars. 3.5. 3.5 stars.
I don't know. You have the book.
Well, I just threw it on my bed, so I don't. I actually don't have my book anymore. No, 3.5 stars. It was so much better than Mad Max. It was a really good film. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think you should definitely watch it if you haven't. And for it to have been made in 1957, I was really surprised at the quality.
Yeah, Disney's been banging forever.
Yes, they have. So next week, what's next week's topic, Jared? Do you have it?
It is
for Everyone's a Critic.
Movie with a subtitles.
No, that's you. You're a couple weeks ahead of us.
Oh, am I?
You are.
Yeah, we're at early film of a famous actress.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And so, what are you watching, Jared?
What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
Okay, and that was young Johnny Depp, right?
Johnny Depp and Leonardo DiCaprio.
And Leo. Nice. Yeah. The Mad Max one was kind of cool because I got a 2-for-1, which with it being Mel Gibson's kind of coming out. I'm watching, if I can find the picture of it. It's the Robert Downey Jr.
Weird Science.
Weird Science. Yeah, I think it was 86?
Yeah, that movie's good.
Something like that. So
classic 80s.
1985, yeah. So I'm actually super excited because I've heard nothing but good things about Weird Science. And obviously Robert Downey Jr. is like the man. So
he's pretty cool.
But yeah, so that's our Everyone's a Critic next week.
Yep.
And this week I gave Jarrett a romance movie.
Yeah, probably our generation's quintessential romance film.
I think so.
You gave me The Notebook, Ryan Gosling, Rachel McAdams. It is as much the antithesis of romance as movies come. Nicholas Sparks, he had, I guess, a decade of just hitting his stride between like Dear John and The Notebook. I know he has a couple others. I didn't see them all.
Time Traveler's Wife.
Yeah. So, and I think this was Rachel McAdams the same year did Mean Girls. So this was like a hot year for her. It's essentially, for those of you who live under a rock and haven't seen The Notebook, it's a retelling of a love story between a man and his wife who has Alzheimer's. So she doesn't remember. And so he's basically every day he retells her how they fell in love and why he loves her so much.
It's like a serious version of the 50 First Dates.
Yeah, like essentially the same thing. Yeah. It's almost the same thing as 50 First Dates. I think the important thing about the Notebook was the chemistry between Gosling and McAdams. Like there's just some dialogue, like when he's yelling at her about like, what do you want? And she's like, I don't know what I want. And it's like, it's pissing him off because he's trying his best. Like their on-screen dynamic was second to none when it comes to romance. And I think if you're going to push a romance film, it's important to actually believe the two characters are in love. And you get so many scenes like them in the rain together, them rowing the boat through the, I guess, swamp. It's just a very iconic love story. Dan, I know you watched it. What did you think?
Yeah, man, I really enjoyed it. I mean, that's one of those that I think through high school I watched it 900 times because every dude our age thinks that we're Ryan Gosling when it comes to like relationships. We're just like, yeah, like we care this much about you. I mean, a few points that I had in it, I think I screamed "Get in the water" at least like 45 times a summer, like in the exact voice and everything. I'm just like, "Get in the water." It's just one of my favorite movie lines. I think that we'll talk about that more in Dirty Dancing, but there's not very many guys that are more attractive than Ryan Gosling, but
Sure.
James
I can see
Marsden, the
my
guy
face
that
on his body.
he gives him a run for his money, man. Like there's a few scenes when like he's clean cut, got his hair pushed back and everything. I'm like, this dude, I could see it. Like you could leave Ryan Gosling for this guy. But
Yeah.
and I have a question for Jarrett.
Yeah.
So when they were talking about like Noah's rebuilding this house, do you think that it was a labor of love, or do you think that he's just crazy? Because I personally think it's pretty bonkers to go through building that entire house for somebody.
I think probably realistically, he was a little off his rocker. I think for the movie purpose, it was sold as a labor of love.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they're enjoying their last days together. I don't think anyone's going to reminisce of, the bad times. Like even the fights they had were, important to their love story. So you're going to paint the best picture to your wife who doesn't remember anything.
Yeah.
So I could see it being a little bit of both. I mean, obviously he cared about her, but it's a little much for me.
And then I think I have an update on like my top 10 like biggest villains list, and it might be the mom from this movie.
Yeah, the one that was hiding the letters.
Yeah, because I also think she's lying about the love interest that she had. I think she was just saying this crap to get her to be like, hey, leave that guy and go get with the rich cotton boy.
100%. Because that's what, I mean, we watched Pride and Prejudice and Little Women and all of this stuff. Like everything back then was you just marry for status. Like it's not a love thing. You marry to set yourself up financially in your future.
Yeah, even if it's with one of your cousins, whatever.
Yeah, that's neither here nor there.
Before you go further, though, I want to address Bart Buff actually said in our chat, Weird Science is a straight classic, guys. I'm pumped to watch.
Coach Buff's in our chat. That's the greatest thing that's ever happened, man.
Coach Buff?
He probably
he was my AP US history teacher. He was the bomb.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Hey, man, Twitter's a magical thing.
Yeah.
Twitter is a magical thing. That's true.
We've done it.
We've made it. We can stop, cut, scene. No, I'm kidding.
Kevin can go back to eating. We're done.
No, I finished eating. I had to basically inhale it. So that was fun. No, so it actually sounds like you really enjoyed the movie. What did you give it rating wise?
4 stars. I don't think it would take a very special romance movie to come out for me to say that was be a better romance movie for something that I grew up on. So like I said, Brian Gosling and Rachel McAdams were superb. I'm not terribly the biggest romance fan, like pure romance. I enjoy a good rom-com. But I think this movie is it's by far the best Nicholas Sparks movie I've seen. So
cool. So you gave me kind of an iconic movie to watch this week.
Yeah.
And I was really excited. I remember being young and watching it, not really understanding it, because what do you understand about love and or dancing at a young age? For me, virtually nothing. Actually, if you were to ask me as a 30-year-old man what I know about either of those two things, it's still very little.
Yeah.
Right.
We are habitually single.
Yeah. But
or at least us two.
Yeah.
Dan's locked it down.
Good for you, Dan. That's awesome, man. By choice, right, Jarrett?
Yeah. Single by choice, always.
For class. This is just like Notebook. I was just like.
So I think this was, and we talked about it last week. This was like my mom's favorite film, I think, when she was younger. And the date, I believe, was like 1987. So it would have been right there when she was in high school, which makes total sense. I really, really liked this movie. And I really didn't expect to. And I'll tell you why. It's because the 80s movies that I enjoy are like Bloodsport, Under Siege. You getting the reference here? Like it's Jean-Claude Van Damme, it's Steven Seagal, it's action movies, right? And here's this dancing love movie where
you saw Patrick Swayze and
bro, it was it. I was weak at the knees. I was jello.
God.
I could see my face on his body, so I can say that's a good looking cat, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So Dane, you don't know this. That's how we decide whether or not another man is attractive, is if we could see our face on their body. So
there's a lot of non-attractive guys, in my opinion, then out there, because I don't know.
Fair enough.
Yeah, whatever floats your boat, man.
So one thing I did notice instantly, and you're gonna think I'm the weirdest person ever.
Too late.
Mrs. Houseman, the mother, is the grandmother from the Gilmore Girls. Yeah.
Yeah. Would have never put
my wife
together.
Actually brought that up when she was like, you
did
know
she
who
really?
I was like, yeah, she was like, that's
Emily Gilmore Girls.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, nope, not my thing. What I noticed was it the hotel owner's son is actually Agent Coulson from all the Marvel movies.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
No, it is not.
It is. The little nerdy guy who's just bossing everybody around. That's Agent
I know
Coulson.
Who you're talking about. What's his name?
Yeah, I saw it and I was like, this dude looks so familiar, but he's so young. And then I pulled it up on Letterboxd and I was like, sure enough. I was like, I haven't seen him take shots in the chest for Captain America. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I did not know that was Agent Coulson. Agent Coulson was one of my favorite characters in the movies.
You have favorite Marvel characters.
What?
I said you have very interesting favorite Marvel characters. Like you picked Hawkeye before the Hawkeye series came out, and I was like,
that's because Hawkeye is the most relatable.
He's a normal dude. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Continue with Dirty Dancing.
Yeah, sorry. Just to circle back to Hawkeye, because I found an interesting fact. So Jeremy Renner learned Olympic archery for Hawkeye, and then he gets on set to film Hawkeye, and you actually don't use traditional archery when filming archery. And so now he just unironically knows how to do archery.
That's awesome. So you learn how to do this really well. They were like, no, we're not going to use any of that.
Yeah. So now he's just good at archery. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah. So, no, I thought this film was fantastic. I enjoyed the dynamic between Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey, who played Baby. At first, I wasn't convinced of their dynamic, of their chemistry. I didn't know if I liked it because I thought it was very childish. I thought it was a teenage girl crush, right? And it turned into something that was more mutual. And when it was more mutual, that's when I started to believe that this is a true like love story. But before that, I didn't see it.
Yeah, there's sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
There really wasn't like a reason for them to, like, I don't know. You kind of see Patrick Swayze's character kind of like talk crap on Baby for a little while, like when she's like, "Oh, it doesn't take much to ask Daddy for money" and stuff like that. And then it gets to a certain point where like Patrick Swayze is like, "Oh no, I didn't see this girl right." So it was more of like Baby was like looking at Patrick Swayze like, "Dang, that dude's got it. Like he is probably the hottest dude alive back then." And then like eventually Patrick Swayze gets more into it where he's like, "Yeah, like she's actually a lot better person than I thought she was," and he actually starts to like her for her because he was low key a gigolo. Let's just be
100%.
I don't know if it was low key because when
he was getting
the money, like make sure my wife
when
gets
extra one guy's like, "Here, go get my wife dancing lessons."
Swayze had it. There's actually a really cool series on Netflix called Movies That Made Us. If you guys haven't checked it out, you probably should. And there's one specifically on Dirty Dancing. So if you check it out, let me know how you see the movie then, because it was just talking about how, it didn't get picked up for syndication and it got picked up by some like Canadian straight to video store, and then
and it
made
actually
like $35 million in box office. Like that movie was not supposed to be.
A ton of horror movies too, which is crazy. So
it
like
wasn't
a ton of early 90s and stuff. There's a bunch of really crappy horror movies that wouldn't have been made that kind of buried that studio. It's not around anymore, but they got like one good thing where they made a ton of money off of it, and then they were like, "Oh, let's just piss it all away on these crappy horror movies." Yeah,
like that movie was not supposed to be a thing, and then it was. I think it was like the biggest box office movie for a couple years.
Yeah,
I believe it.
Dane, back to what you were saying though about the him not being as receptive to her feelings initially. After that whole thing with Penny changed and the like underground abortion attempt.
What is it? I heard him walk the coat hanger and that was.
Yeah, that was just like I did not remember that, and if I did, I didn't know what it was. I had no idea what they were talking about. But I
think I might have thought she just had to real bad, like she had like real bad constipation and she couldn't dance. I don't know, like young me filled that hole with not abortion, and then didn't realize like like there was something else going on. And when that happened, I was just like, Jesus Christ, this movie is deep. Like I just thought we were gonna watch Patrick Swayze just pretty much be like a TikToker and diggle and wiggle dick the whole time, and it wasn't that, man. This is a good movie.
Yeah, it's like this movie's missing something. Abortion.
Yeah.
Why is it even there?
Yeah. But it did make me hate Donnie that much more because he was a real cool. I don't know that I've ever met a person that would even remind me of that type of person. Like he was just.
I know a couple.
Yeah, it was just like out there for me. I don't know, dude. I really didn't like him. But no, overall, man, the movie was great. I enjoyed it. I gave this movie a solid 3.5. I think it was very well done. I was surprisingly into it early on, maybe not as much, but like the further the movie went, I think I found myself enjoying it more. Especially the relationship between Baby and her dad, which we haven't talked about, but I thoroughly enjoyed how you could see progression from the father.
Yeah,
you can see him evolve towards the end of the movie, and I love that.
Yeah, that scene on the lake, I really good. embodiment of that. When like he's sitting there and he's just like all torn up, and then she walks out and she's just like, yeah, you like I never like felt supported from you pretty much, and he's just like
I
not
lied
saying
to you,
crying.
but you lied to me.
Yeah. So it was, I agree. I think that was cool. My one big, all right. So the thing everyone talks about this movie is nobody puts baby in a corner. That line is like kind of a throwaway line in that movie.
Yeah.
Like he just kind of walks up, looks, and he's like, nobody puts baby in a corner. But like,
it wasn't in the script.
But like, if you were there, you would be sitting in the corner. If you look at where she's sitting compared to the stage, like she might have actually picked that seat.
But
so like when he walks up, he's like, nobody put baby in the corner. Yeah, baby might have put baby in that corner because both of the parents had to turn like this. And the sister who was in the show, she was facing away from the stage. So like baby had the best seat. Like baby should be in the corner. Don't be mad that baby's in the corner. She probably picked it. That's all I'm saying. Is when you walk up and you say, nobody puts baby in a corner. Like
the crazy thing is I expected that line to be like, more iconically presented.
Yeah.
And it just
there'd be like an argument like, no, you get in the corner. Like, nope, it was just
a casual. He literally walks up, right? Like the hero's return, okay, to the hero's triumphant return. He walks up to their table, and all he says is, nobody puts baby in the corner. And he grabs her and brings her upstairs. Like, and that was it. It was the most casual like thing, and I just didn't understand why it got the attention that it got.
I agree. That might be on my overhyped list of movie quotes.
Yeah. So, anyways, that was Dirty Dancing for me. Yeah, Jared, I appreciate the movie. It was a great watch. Thank you.
No problem.
And I have my movie selected for you.
I have a movie for you as well.
You want to go first? You want me to go
first?
Sure.
This one comes from, actually, it's a Lauren Hubbard suggestion. We were talking about it this weekend. Okay. She asked me that she wanted to hear us do more Brat Pack movies.
Brat Pack?
Yeah. So the 80s.
Explain that?
It's like the 80s Pretty in Pink. Breakfast Club, like that group of actors.
Okay, I've got one. I'll change mine if yours isn't what I think it is.
I'm giving you Pretty in Pink.
All right, then I'm giving you 13 Candles.
16 Candles.
16 Candles. That's
13 Candles is a little different movie.
Yeah, sorry. 16 Candles.
I'll do 16 Candles.
I'll give you that one. I was going to give you Titanic, but
I've seen that 7,000 times.
Well, I know, right? But it's still kind of one that we should at least discuss a little bit this month.
I'm not interested.
One of the great love stories.
Talking about a woman yeeting an $80 million diamond off of a boat after she just explained to the guy looking for that diamond for his entire life the importance of it.
Yeah.
And Rose just goes, nah, fam.
Yeah, that was Bill Paxton got murdered by an alien, and that's still the most disrespectful thing to happen to Bill Paxton on screen.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'll do 16 Candles. You got Pretty in Pink?
Pretty in Pink? Cool.
Yep.
Get it.
All right, so now to the meat and the potatoes of why we all gathered here tonight. It is Oscar nomination day.
Yes.
Let's go.
And for the first time in a long time, I actually give a shit. Because for the past couple of years, I've looked at these lists and said, I have no interest in seeing these movies. But I've seen most of these movies. So by and large, I now have an interest. We are going to start with, we're just going to do the big six. We're not doing
the crazy stuff.
Yeah, so it's
best costume designer.
What is it? The supporting actors, the best picture. What's the sixth?
Actors and
what'd you do as your sixth one? Was it
actor, actresses? Screenplay.
Supporting actors, actor, actress, director, and best picture.
Okay, director. So before we start on this, I will say shout out to the Oscars for having Mitchell's versus the Machines in their best film.
The Golden Globes got that.
Was
yeah. So I will
without a doubt
big shout out to that.
Another
win,
big
but I'm just glad
Balls podcast is Free Guy got nominated for an Oscar.
Let's go.
Which Oscar?
I think it was graphic design or like one of those.
Yeah,
I don't remember though.
That's right. I mean, the entire movie was CG. So
yeah. So I mean, it was like I think it was like that, Shang-Chi, Dune, Spider-Man. I don't remember the other movie, but yeah, it got in there. So that got a nomination, and The French Dispatch didn't. So hear from me first. If you're a Wes Anderson film, shut up about stupid French Dispatch. It's not that good of a movie. It didn't get any nominations. Quit tweeting about it. Quit putting your reviews on Letterboxd. French Dispatch sucks.
Are you anti Wes Anderson or just anti French Dispatch?
Just French Dispatch.
Hey, Dane, real quick, how do you feel about the French Dispatch? How do you feel about that? I really want to know your innermost thoughts on
just remember that Free Guy got more nominations for the Oscars than your crappy French Dispatch movie did.
Did you? And I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit because I know it's in one of these categories. Did you like Licorice Pizza?
I haven't seen Licorice Pizza yet.
Okay, because there is an entire
there's a Paul Thomas Anderson family out there, and they just
subplot that made me very uncomfortable when I was watching that movie, and I didn't know if it was supposed to or if I was just supposed to ignore it like the movie did. So,
is that the Bradley Cooper banging the 19-year-old girl plot line?
No, it's the fact that the main character is 15 and his love interest is 25, and no one ever mentions it like it's out of the ordinary for the entire movie. In fact, it's encouraged for the entire movie.
Yeah.
Someone on the internet right now is claiming male privilege or whatever. It's like, you couldn't make this movie the other way around. Somebody's out there doing that right now.
Yeah, because I saw it. Because from the trailers, I thought they were the same age. And then, like, the very first line, she was like, I'm 25. And I was like, oh, this is going to be a weird 2 hours.
All right. We just got another comment from Hattie Lawrence. She came on last week. She said we're straight roasting some classics this episode. First Old Yeller, then Pride and Prejudice. Now you're coming after the Titanic.
When did we
look,
Prejudice?
We didn't roast
Hold on.
Pride and Prejudice. Hold on. First of all, I want to say, Hattie, I appreciate you coming back after last week. Hopefully, and I'm glad that we didn't scare you off by roasting you last week. I apologize for that.
When it comes to Titanic, it's my third favorite movie. Like, I love that movie. It's Leonardo DiCaprio. It's James Cameron. It's everything you could ever put on screen that I would watch. But she still yeets an $80 million jewel into the ocean. And that I find offensive.
Yeah, it's the capitalist in Jarrett that gets upset.
Yeah.
But nobody's roasting Old Yeller, first of all. I love that movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And Pride and Prejudice was great. I don't think I said this. The only bad thing I said about Pride and Prejudice is it just makes me think that in order to get married, you have to be wealthy, good looking. And what was the other thing, Jarrett? Or is it just those two things?
I think it was just those were the two important things.
Yeah. You have to be wealthy, good looking. Oh, and a gentleman. You got the whole package. You got to have.
Yeah. Well, we're 1 out of 3. So
yeah, I think
I'll let them figure out. I'll let them figure out which one it is.
But sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt that. I just saw the chat. I wanted.
No, we need to talk to the chat. So, do you guys want to do supporting actors first, or start with the director?
Let's start with the supporting.
Okay. So, supporting actress, we had Jessie Buckley, The Lost Daughter, Ariana DeBose, West Side Story, Judi Dench, Belfast, Kirsten Dunst, The Power of the Dog, and Ingenue Ellis for King Richard. Out of those, the only two I hadn't seen were Belfast and The Lost Daughter. I'm super behind on Belfast, and I hate myself for it. As far as Ariana DeBose, everyone knows I'm really high on her. She was my pick when we did the Golden Globes. Kirsten Dunst, she's kind of pivotal to Power of the Dog. and moving the story how it needs to go. And Anjanou Ellis, I think the kitchen scene alone got her that nomination when she's going at it with Will Smith.
Yeah, that was phenomenal.
So none of these, I can't really think of any snubs. The only one I would have probably put on there because I've seen it is the mom from Coda. I think she probably could have gotten an Oscar now, but I haven't seen The Last Daughter, so I can't really say anything.
Yeah,
on that.
Lost Daughter's on Netflix, so it's a pretty easy watch if you want to throw that on. And then the other one that is kind of a little bit of a big deal is Judi Dench. She hadn't gotten nominated in the Screen Actors Guild Awards. She hadn't gotten nominated in the Screen Writers Guild Awards. It was always Belfie, the other girl that was in the movie. So it was one of those where everyone thought there would be a supporting actress from Belfast in there. Didn't expect it to be Judi Dench.
Yeah, now I know you've seen Belfast, but like my understanding of the movie is like there's a lot of actors, but there's not like a central actor. Because one of the guys I was listening talk about his nomination, he's like, there's a lot of people you could say are supporting actors, but they do more than supporting actors do, but not enough to get like a main actor or actress award. So and that's kind of where, like with the Oscars, it's kind of up to the filmmakers, like where they want people to run in categories. So like when you look at like Judas and the Black Messiah last year, when they ran the two guys for supporting, when they could have run one for lead and one for supporting, and they both probably would have got nominated. However, they ran them both in supportings, then they both got nominated. I think that a little bit of, it's called category fraud. A little bit of category fraud kind of happened with Belfast, where they were like, none of you guys really have a big part where we could just push you into a lead role. So let's just keep you in supporting to try and help us get some more nominations and win some more awards, which they're going to do. They're going to win a good bit, or at least be at the top of a good bit. So I think the early favorite for Best Supporting Actress, though, is your girl DeBow from West Side Story. That seems to be so good.
Well, she's doing everything right. I mean, she's out campaigning. She's doing interviews. She's talking to people. Like, she's doing everything that you want someone who's going to win an Oscar to do. And so could really see her bringing this one home.
Yeah.
I actually have I had a really cool fun fact that I went over earlier, where only twice has it happened where two different actors, actresses have won a Oscar for the same role. And it was Heath Ledger and Joaquin Phoenix for the Joker, and then Marlon Brando and De Niro for The Godfather for Vito Corleone. So Ariana DeBose actually, is it Ariana? How do you say her first name?
Ariana.
Ariana DeBose could actually be the first female duo to do it with her. I can't remember who plays Valentina in the movie. That's the same. She won the Oscar originally in the original West Side Story for Best Supporting Actress. So that's actually really, really cool. And I think, Dan, you said there was somebody else too.
Yeah, there's actually two in this. So Jessie Buckley and Olivia Colman play the same character in the same movie. So if they could both technically win their awards, and they would add to that list too. But I think Jessie Buckley kind of slipped in this category. She's another one that people didn't really see coming. Olivia Colman's a powerhouse in the movie, so she deserves her spot. But I definitely think that's just another cool little fact, like you were talking about, where they could both win and be in the same year, and that's never happened before.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sweet. Kevin, do you have any snubs, or you feel pretty comfortable?
No, I have one snub that I think, and I'll address it next with the next category.
Okay.
I had the one snub, and I feel pretty strongly about it because I love him as an actor.
Ooh, this should be fun.
Yeah. I think I'm with Dan. I think Ariana DeBose is gonna kind of walk away with it. She did it in the Golden Globe, and West Side Story was a great movie already. And when you shine as bright as she did in a movie of that caliber, I think it's a pretty.
The scene, the scene of her at the end of the movie, going into Valentina's place where all the jets were, like that was phenomenal. I think she was great.
Well, she had everything. The only part about that movie I didn't enjoy was she was yelling at Maria for dating a murderer, and I was like, man, you're upset about a guy who murdered someone too. Like let's calm down.
Your boy was kind of like, hey, let's murder each other. Whoever wins wins.
It all started because your boy murdered first.
Yep.
But anyway, Ariana DeBose, she was great. Supporting actor, Syrian Hines. We got from Belfast, Troy Kotzer, Coded, Jesse Plemons, The Power of the Dog, J.K. Simmons, Being the Ricardos, and Cody Smith McPhee, The Power of the Dog. Kevin, you said you had a snub from this category.
Yeah, I did.
So I
guess
you kick this one off.
Yeah, so I did. I actually did have a snub, and then you read his name, and I don't know if the article I read wasn't up to date, but I remember distinctly Jesse Plemons should be in this category, and then you read it, and I'm like, okay, well, everything I know is now lost. Because I didn't have him as being nominated, and I thought it was so deserving because in anything that I've seen him in, he's been fantastic. I've really enjoyed his roles, his acting. He was in Breaking Bad. He was in the Jungle Cruise as the German guy, and then I got to see him in Power of the Dog. And I've always enjoyed him as an actor, and I thought he did phenomenal in the movie. So that would have been my snub, but he's here, so no snub.
Yeah, the only one.
There we go.
I don't really have anyone I would put in over. I would have to think. Maybe actually, I would probably put Bradley Cooper in there from Licorice Pizza, because even though he's only in the movie for like 10 minutes, it's probably the best 10 minutes of the movie. I love J.K. Simmons. I don't think he did enough in Being the Ricardos to get a nomination.
Yeah, we'll talk a lot about Being the Ricardos when we move on to like Best Picture and stuff, because it's a very like Academy friendly movie where what they're making is something that like only the people that vote on this are like, oh, this is so cool. Kind of like what was the black and white movie that got nominated last year about the making of this is totally just running through my brain. But whenever you make movies about movies people love it. Like it's like their favorite thing in the world.
And I think this one hits home, especially for the old heads of the Academies, like the people in their 70s and 80s who grew up with Lucille Ball and all that. So I think that's probably where its popularity are coming from.
Yeah, and I will say, I mean, it seems like it's a big consistency that your boy Jesse Plemons was one of the biggest surprises of the day. Like that wasn't something that people really saw coming, was him getting nominated. Everyone saw Cody Smith getting nominated because I mean he was. I think he could. Yeah, that's who I would put if I was betting on it. That's who I would bet on. I'd put my money on Cody.
Yeah. And it's fair enough. I'm happy with the nomination because I don't even think he got a mention when we did the Golden Globe thing.
He definitely wasn't in the Golden Globe.
I thought he deserved to be in the conversation, and that was the only thing that I wanted. Not necessarily to win. I don't think he was the best supporting actor in his movie. Like,
it was a good setup for him moving forward with him being in the Scorsese movie with it's like the Murder of the Last Flower or something like that. I forget the name of it, but it's like him and DiCaprio. And originally people thought DiCaprio was going to be the lead, but then Plemons took the lead. So now for Plemons, there's a nomination underneath his belt. Like that movie is going to get a lot more funding. It's going to get pushed a little bit harder because you've got DiCaprio, probably the greatest actor of our lifetime, and then Scorsese, probably the greatest actor of our lifetime, and then you've got a guy who's got a nomination under his belt. So be interested to see how that movie does.
I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I'm super happy to see the dude from Coda, Troy Kotzer. That was probably, if I would have seen it last year, it would have been in my top 5 movies of the year. Like, that movie is absolutely superb.
It's pretty solid movie.
Yeah. We doing, so that was
supporting actor,
supporting actresses.
You want to do director now?
Sure, let me find. All right, so for director, we got Kenneth Branagh for Belfast. Ryusuke Hamaguchi for Drive My Car, Paul Thomas Anderson for Licorice Pizza, Jane Campion, The Power of the Dog, and Steven Spielberg, West Side Story. Drive My Car, another movie that's getting a lot of Oscar love. I haven't gotten a chance to see it because, like we were talking about it before, it's impossible in the States to find, and it might get some limited releases once we get out of Oscar. It's kind of like Parasite did. So I can't really speak too much of that.
Now, oh, sorry.
No, good.
If I'm not mistaken, is this if Jane Campion wins, will this be the first female director to win the Oscar for Best Director? Is that right?
That's correct. And she's actually the only woman director to ever be nominated twice.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Twice. Yeah. So we got some catching up to do with the director category. That still kind of seems like that's an old head kind of, let's keep it to our little bro club type deal, but we're getting there. And in my opinion, this is my Dune soapbox that I told you I was going to stand on.
Yeah.
Denis Villeneuve not getting nominated here is absolutely egregious. I mean, the man got nominated for Best Picture without an actor or an actress in the best categories. He got nominated for the score. He got nominated for editing. I mean, they get nominated for all of these other technical awards, but the main guy that's sitting at the helm of the movie, directing and telling everybody how it needs to go, he doesn't get nominated? Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, Kenneth Branagh did a great job. I think I haven't seen Licorice Pizza, so I couldn't say kick Paul Thomas Anderson out for him, but like, how?
I think my biggest thing with the Dune thing, and it's my biggest thing with the Oscars that I have a problem with, is I think they dislike
mainstream
blockbuster movies.
Yeah.
Like movies that are super relevant, upfront, money-making machines, which Dune was. And
Dune was too mainstream.
And that's what I'm thinking. Like I'm with you. I could very easily see it should be in over Licorice Pizza, because as much as I get Licorice Pizza being an artist film, and I know I like Wes Anderson stuff, but he does kind of have like a cult, kind of like a Tarantino fan club that like everything he puts out, people act like it's the greatest movie ever made. I can't speak to Drive My Car, and I'm not going to say it could go in over that without me seeing the movie. But I think Dune was just too mainstream for the Academy to give it the credit it deserved.
It just doesn't. It didn't check out to me, because when you look at all like the Bellwether Awards, so like for them to get nominated with all these other things that he had to have his hand in, and them say like, oh, this is one of the 5 best of these, and he had a part in all of it. And then for him not to get nominated, it's like, makes some sense here, Academy. Like, now if they would have been like this kind of, I feel like, you know, in the college football playoff when they show like the top 4 and they show like the next 2 that would have made it in. If they'd have done that for the Oscars, like if they would have done that for the Oscars and number 6 wouldn't have been Denny, I would have just ripped a tree out with my bare hands. Like I'd have been so pissed, because like he deserves every bit of it. And so that's my soapbox. I'm sorry I got on.
I mean, it's a fair soapbox to be on, because Kevin and I are both very large Dune fans.
It was all over whenever we were doing our end of the year awards, it was all over mine. I love Dune. I thought the score was perfect. I thought the screenplay was great. I thought the cinematography was great. I loved every bit of this movie. So
I'm pretty sure I got nominated for
I'm with you on that.
Like what the?
Yeah, it got nominated for cinematography. So yeah, and I think it's like important to like associate like a film and a movie, right? And like Dune was an epic. Like everything about that movie was a grand scale, leaps and bounds higher than any of these movies.
For sure.
And he's taking material that's supposed to be unmakeable for movies. Like Dune is a story that is not supposed to be able to be made into a movie. And he started a masterpiece. Like, as long as he doesn't just go batshit in the next 2 parts, like that could arguably be one of the greatest trilogies ever made. And I say that in the face of the Lord of the Rings, which I think is like a perfect trilogy. Yeah, and the new Spider-Man with No Way Home.
Yep.
So I get
and
it.
Toy Story. Looking at you, Toy Story.
Well, there's 4 of those now.
I was about to say.
So, there is the 4.
Not a trilogy.
There's 4. Yeah, I was going to say Matrix,
take
and
one
then
of
I
them.
realized that Resurrections just came out.
Yeah.
So,
anyway, back to the best director. It looks like Jane Champion is probably going to be your favorite.
Yeah.
We're looking at odds in Vegas for that, and she's a minus 500 right now.
I wouldn't count out Spielberg though. Historically, he's just one of those guys that I feel like he's always in the conversation. And West Side Story got so much love.
And Steven Spielberg's the first director to be nominated in every decade for 6 straight decades. So the man's been doing it for a while. So
yeah, he's the go. And it kind of goes back to what you're saying about the bro club. Like, I'm sure the same people that have been voting for Spielberg for 60 years, if they're not dead, they're still sitting with a vote. So I think that's that's probably Jane's biggest competition is Spielberg, which
is cool.
That's a great conversation to be in, though.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Tom Brady, Peyton Manning debacle.
Yeah,
like Peyton Manning would have had so many Super Bowls had not had to play Tom Brady every year.
All right, so do you want to do Best Picture? Or do you want to save that for last?
End with Best Picture.
Okay. Let's do Best Actresses.
Sure.
And I'll read these if you're okay with it.
Yeah, go ahead.
We've got Jessica Chastain for The Eyes of Tammy Faye, Olivia Colman for The Lost Daughter, Penelope Cruz for Parallel Mothers, Nicole Kidman for Being the Ricardos, and Kristen Stewart for Spencer. And I haven't seen a single one of these movies. Not a single one.
I've only seen The Lost Daughter and Being Ricardo. So
I've seen Being the Ricardos. I haven't seen the others. I want to see The Eyes of Tammy Faye. That's got Andrew Garfield in it, and I heard Jessica Chastain was really good in that movie. And I want to see Spencer. I think the Princess Diana story is very interesting. So her taking that role.
I do have a question though, Dane. Did you have Maria from West Side Story getting a nomination at least?
Yeah, I thought because she got nominated in the Screen Guild. She got nominated for the Screenwriters Guild. So, I mean, she got a lot of the Guild nominations. So it was one of those where, I mean, the bellwether things, if you're looking at what happened in the past, then she technically should have gotten this nomination. And I think Lady Gaga was another one that kind of got knocked off that people didn't see coming. I think people saw Lady Gaga going in before before Rachel. And that was just a mind-blowing that neither of them made it. Penelope Cruz's movie we can't even see yet. So
that's tough.
That's just one of those where you just want to be a part of the Academy and get the login for their streaming services because they get all the movies like 6 months before they come out, and it's not even fair.
Yeah, that would be nice. I'm sure she's good in it. I don't know why Chastain got the nomination. If it would have been a movie that I had heard, kind of like you said, like if it got a lot of hype going into the Golden Globes and all these other awards, I would say, sure, it makes sense. It's a favorite, but this movie basically flew under the radar all year. Like when it came out, it wasn't popular. And now she's getting a nomination. Like besides her just being Jessica Chastain, I think this missed the mark because
I think part of the reason why she got that nomination too. And just like we were talking about earlier with Ariana DeBose doing a great job of getting out and doing interviews and stuff. Jessica Chastain has been campaigning the hell out of herself to try and get into this. But yeah, I just remember I was watching this at 8 a.m. when they were like, all right, best actress, I was like, all right, let's go. They said Jessica Chastain, and I was like, what? And they said Olivia Colman, and I was like, okay. And like Penelope Cruz, and I was just like, what the heck is this category, man? And then Nicole Kidman got it, and now it sucks because now she's going to have a right to do crappy movie intro commercials even more that I don't want to watch every time I go to the theater. Like, I mean, they're just giving these things out. So I think best actress betting wise, if you're looking at, I would stay away from it, man. Do not put any money on any of this crap. Like these guys, whoever wins good for them.
I think it's gonna be Nicole Kidman.
I do have a thought though.
She's the favorite, yeah.
I do have my thought is this. I haven't seen Spencer, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But I have seen a bunch of articles written about Kristen Stewart's, specifically her performance in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Have you now, Dan, have you seen it by chance?
I haven't seen Spencer, but I've read a lot about the royal family actually like kind of trying to put some blocks on this movie.
Really?
And so,
I mean, they did
like there's a lot of
so.
Yeah, so there's a lot that's kind of going into this movie where people are like, I don't know if we'll see it win because those heads all are kind of like in with the family and stuff like that. So
I saw pictures and she looks
just like
her. And so like it's kind of like in that the Will Smith King Richard, like they look just alike. But I've heard that her performance is pretty spectacular in the movie.
Yeah,
so
I think it's important for her. I would love to see her win it because I know she gets trapped in the same thing Robert Pattinson does, as everyone just sees her as Twilight, and that was
Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah, it was 15
Watson.
Years ago. But at least Emma Watson has like perks of being a wallflower. And like movies
Little
that
Women, right? She was a Little Women.
yeah, and Beauty and the Beast.
Right.
Yeah, so she has like movies that you can go for. Like Kristen Stewart is like Charlie's Angels. And it's just like not great. And so if this kind of propels us past the Twilight era, because I love Robert Pattinson as an actor.
Yeah.
He's
about to have a huge year, man.
Vastly underrated, yes. The Batman's gonna be big for him.
I still want to watch that.
Is that March or February?
March 4th.
I still want to see that Robert Pattinson movie that he did where he's it's like a old, not the church thing where he was like a pastor of the church.
The devil's a part-timer.
Yeah.
Not the devil. The devil all the time.
The devil.
That's an anime. I was like,
yeah, it's also got Tom Holland in it.
Yeah, I heard that movie was phenomenal, and I want to watch it. And
it's cool. I wouldn't go with phenomenal.
It's dark. It is a dark film. Yeah. So yeah, good for her. I think Nicole Kidman's going to win it. If you just look at every category, it looks like Being the Ricardos is nominated for something. So it's a favorite, and I think this is easily the category you can get away with giving it to them, and people won't be like,
no one's gonna. Yeah,
I'm questionable.
Okay, cool. So, best actress, we're just staying away from gambling on that, right, Dan?
Yeah, don't put no money on that category.
I think actress is easier than actor.
Actor's tough, man. Yeah, actor's tough.
I think. Easiest one. I mean, like it's been locked up for 9 months now.
I don't know, man. I would have said that until I saw the Golden Globes. But Kevin, if you want to ramble off this list, we can go more.
Yeah, I can do that. So, best actors, we have Javier Bardem for Being the Ricardos, Benedict Cumberbatch for The Power of the Dog, Andrew Garfield for Tick, Tick, Boom, Will Smith for King Richard, and Denzel Washington, or just Denzel, for The Tragedy of Macbeth.
No last name.
No last name. I spoke to Jared about this earlier, Dane, and there's not a whole lot of surprises here in this category.
Yep.
I'm a little partial. I love Will Smith. Okay, I'm just gonna say it.
Yep.
His performance in King Richard was crazy. It was phenomenal. It was the best you've ever seen from him. It probably the best you'll ever get, to be honest. If he was ever going to win, it would be for King Richard. But Benedict Cumberbatch.
I think it's gonna be Cumberbatch, but
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think I'm kind of with Kevin on this one. I think this is Will Smith's to lose. I think he's kind of backed off on the campaigning because the movie came out so much earlier than everybody else's.
Mhm.
But I mean, he wrote like a memoir about all the stuff that he did to kind of embody Richard. And I mean, he's doing all the stuff to be like, guys, I promise I'm a real actor. Like, I'm not just the kid from Bel Air. Like, I'm a real actor. Like,
I'm a real boy.
I make exactly. But yeah, I mean, right now he's a minus 330 favorite for this. So I mean,
yeah.
I mean that's like not betting on Francis Ngannou. I mean, like you're not gonna do it.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, he's ticking all the boxes that the Oscars have been pushing the past couple years. So if he wins it, I'm not upset. Like honestly, as long as Javier Bardem doesn't win it. And even Denzel to a point. I thought Tragedy Macbeth was good. I don't think it was Oscar winning good.
But it's still.
I just like
glad
Denzel.
he got nominated.
I mean, Denzel doing Shakespeare that's an Oscar lock as it is. And I mean, it was true word for word Shakespeare. It wasn't like ad-libbed or rewritten. And it was a beautiful movie. So I'm glad to see him. If Andrew Garfield wins it, I will shit a literal brick.
That will be
so happy.
Yeah.
Because Tick Tick Boom was one of my favorite movies of last year.
I'm with y'all. I think I have Tick Tick Boom at like number 5 on my list this year.
I still listen to that soundtrack on repeat.
Oh, same. I'll load up a TFT game on League of Legends and just be rocking the Tick Tick Boom soundtrack.
It is a banger. And that's how the movie starts. So I was like, as soon as I heard the first song, I was like, oh, dude.
Oh, it's funny. I sent Jared, so then you'll like this. It was about a week ago. I had been listening to the soundtrack and the what's the verse? Which do you prefer?
Cages or Wings.
I sent him the lyrics and he like finished the lyric for me. And that's like, and it was instant too. It was like 2 seconds later, I was getting the response from Jarrett, and that's how you know that we've been listening to that soundtrack like crazy. It's phenomenal. Tick Tick Boom's one of my favorite, if not my favorite musical now of all time. So high praise.
It was big.
I'm glad Garfield got a nomination.
Yeah. So I would say probably the biggest snub in this category. I mean, it's not like the biggest, like all of these guys are kind of is like, if you were to take one out, I agree with Jared, it'd probably be Javier Bardem. And you could probably put Bradley Cooper and Nightmare Alley in there. And then there was a lot of push for Leo to make it for Don't Look Up. But I personally didn't think that this was like a big like Leo role. Like when you think of like a Leo nom role, you think of him like being freaking Leo. But that's kind of the argument for why he should have gotten nominated was like, he didn't have to be big and crazy. He was a little nerdy guy. And I was like, I just didn't.
Yeah, the thing with Leo and me with the Oscars is they're so inconsistent with.
They hate him.
Yeah. I mean, like, The Revenant wins it over. I mean, The Wolf of Wall Street should have just swept every category that year.
Retroactively, we're giving all the Oscars to Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah. And it's the same thing like Titanic. There's not a better movie.
I don't know what all came out that year.
I'll have to look. And I know he was young, and so you can give it on that. But
I was gonna say Eating Gilbert Grape is another one where people were like, I mean, even from him being little, it was like, this dude, because there were people that legitimately thought he had something going on.
I thought Inception was gonna win one.
I thought he would win. It just annoys me when everyone on the planet's on the same page of where something is, and then the Oscars doesn't do it. It's just like everyone on the planet Earth knows Wolf of Wall Street was the best movie.
But I think that's because everyone on the planet loved it, right? There's almost like this degree of hubris among the people that are doing these votes, where it's essentially it's like looking at a sophisticated work of art, right? The general public shouldn't understand it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I definitely think that's something. That's something that they kind of set themselves up for when they didn't nominate The Dark Knight. So when they didn't nominate The Dark Knight that next year, everyone was like, why didn't it get nominated? And they're like, how about this? We'll expand how many movies can get nominated. So we'll go from 5 to possibly 10. This year we got all 10. You don't get 10 every year. But then what started happening was you had the same people voting. So that's when the Oscars So White thing came in. And so then they're like, all right, well, we'll expand our body. So they expanded in 2015. I had this note just because this is in 2015, the amount of people voting for the Academy was 6,261. And so then this year it's 9,467. So that's like a 33% increase. And what they expected to happen was, oh, we'll see more popular movies. But what is really happening is the people that are voting on this don't want to see popular movies. The people that are voting on this are voting for, like, look at this craft with like a capital K. Like, look how freaking cool it is that they made something about, you take most of these nominees. The stuff that didn't get on there. Look at like The Power of the Dog. Like, how many people have actually seen The Power of the Dog? How many people have seen Drive My Car? How many people have seen Coda? How many people have seen Belfast? Not very many. But then you look at movies, which I'm just go ahead and think we're off the actor thing. But when you look at movies like that didn't get nominated, like Tick, Tick, Boom didn't get nominated for Best Picture. And when you look at like movies that people actually went and saw, aka Spider-Man, like, no, there might not be the best movie that was made that year, but like at a certain point, you got to start worrying about the Oscars used to be the center of culture. So like when you look at TV rankings throughout the year, it was always like 5 or 6 NFL games and then the Oscars and then more NFL games. So that's not going to happen. Like, it hasn't happened for like 4 or 5 years. Last year, COVID, it's whatever. That's not going to happen again this year, 100%. Not very many people are going to watch the Oscars because you have movies that people don't want to watch. Like, I love Nightmare Alley. It's not going to win Best Picture. Pull that out, put Spider-Man in. Like, have Tom Holland come host the Oscars. Like, do stuff like that so that people will watch it. Yeah. But they just don't care about that at this point. They're getting money from ABC. They're going to make their money either way. So instead of being like a cultural event, they want to be like, hey, look at these really cool movies, which is fine. They're allowed to do that if they want, but it's frustrating.
Yeah, and it sucks to say that because it's like, I think The Power of the Dog might win Best Picture. And I don't think that was by far my favorite movie I watched last year. And it's kind of unfortunate that I can't talk about movies that I think were the best movies that I watched last year, my personal best, and then movies I know I have to like differentiate in my mind. Like, okay, this is an Oscar film. This was a great movie. And it sucks that it can't be synonymous anymore.
For sure. Look at like The Last Duel. I think we all saw it. We all loved it. It didn't get anything.
I was going to ask you about that once we got to Best Picture, because you sent me, I'll remember this because I've never been more pushed to see a movie. You sent me a Facebook message that said that might be the best movie I've ever seen. And
I think I said it that year. I didn't say that's the best
movie
of the year. But it was. But the whole reason it isn't getting nominated is because it's not doing the political things, because it's in the middle of like Disney buying out Fox. So once Disney bought out Fox, The Last Duel just ended up in limbo, and there was no press done for it. There was no. Ben Affleck he easily could have gotten nominated for Best Supporting Actor, in my opinion. Adam Driver could have gotten nominated. You look at that whole movie. There's just stars all through that movie that do a great job. It's written and directed by Ridley Scott. This movie is the definition of what an Oscar movie should be, but because they didn't want to push for it, we don't see it one time that whole Sunday. And we don't see Spider-Man but for a pretty much throwaway award that it gets nominated for.
Graphics.
That's a shame. It's not representative. The biggest problem I have is that it's not representative of what the majority wants to see, like what the majority likes to see. And and Jarrett said it earlier where he's talking about these movies that are very clearly Oscar like grabs. And it's frustrating because it shouldn't be like that. There shouldn't be movies that are one or the other, like Jarrett said. It should be what movies were good, successful, whatever you want to use, whatever parameters you want to use to make the determination. But it should never be, this movie. not everybody's going to understand it or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
it's frustrating.
I mean, I can't remember if Avatar got nominated, but like we're talking about movies that are setting records that get broken. I mean, I guess a little more frequently now because Marvel took the world over.
Marvel,
but like they're making God numbers. Like
the fact that Spider-Man No Way Home did what it did during essentially
COVID, and it's about to be the number 2 movie of all time, only behind Endgame, which was the ending of a decade-long saga of a story we were being told.
Yeah.
Like, and it's special effects. Like, get out of here, man. Like, I've never sat shoulder to shoulder, even in Endgame included. I've never sat in a theater as packed as I have with Spider-Man.
Or been as active.
Yeah, and gotten the reactions I got with Spider-Man.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Definitely the in theater responses of like getting to see all 3 Spider-Man and everything was not. I mean, even when like Tony Stark dies, I mean, I was bawling my eyes out, so it might have been happening and I just didn't realize it. But I would say there's not very many movies that had like such a grip on the culture. Like it was like everyone in the world went and saw Spider-Man, and I can't think of the last. I mean, if it wasn't a Marvel movie, I can't think of the last movie that's like, yeah, I saw that. Like, why didn't I see that type movie?
Oh.
Yeah.
So, I agree.
Kevin, you want to run us through Best Picture? I think that's our last category.
Yeah, let's do that. So Best Picture, you'll see some familiar names here.
Mm-hmm.
They've been discussed. Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, Dune, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, and West Side Story. I didn't hate Don't Look Up. I just don't like that it's on the list personally.
This is a big screenwriters and directors vote in because it got nominated for Best Original Screenplay in the Screenplay Guild Awards. And so that's just really where this comes from, is when it comes down to it, the people that make movies really love Don't Look Up. There's a lot of people kind of on Twitter right now that are a little scared that Don't Look Up was going to win Best Picture. Like around like last weekend or like this weekend coming into nominations, it was like, hey, if you see Best Picture get more, Don't Look Up get more than like 6 or 7 nominations, be prepared because it's probably going to win Best Picture. Luckily, it didn't get that many, but it was one of those where like film Twitter was gearing up for a, oh my God, like they really did pick Don't Look Up type moment.
Yeah, I would have lost the little faith I had in the Oscars if Don't Look Up wins this, because I have seen all but Drive My Car and Belfast on this list.
So, not to slight Leo in any way, form, or fashion, but you'd said something earlier about him possibly being nominated for Best Actor, and I don't believe. I think that would have been that would have done a disservice to the people that were nominated. And I don't believe the role that he played. Obviously, he's a great actor. I don't think the role he played was as like iconic as what a nomination would deserve. If that makes sense.
The only hard part is it's like the other like not iconic role is the one he won for. So it's like when you think of all his iconic roles, like hey, he didn't win those. What he won for was saying he was a vegan and eating a mule heart or something like that. Like that's why they were like,
getting his ass kicked out there.
Which would any of us would.
Yeah.
But I think
I'm not super confident of why Drive My Car got picked. I don't like movies that aren't accessible. Like and I'm not saying that has to be a huge theatrical release, but I don't like you can buy a studio, show it for 2 weekends, and then that qualifies it for an Oscar. Like if Drive My Car had been in any theater in Birmingham or Atlanta or anywhere, that a normal person could see it, sure. But this slot could have been, like you said, just throw you don't it doesn't have to win. Throw Spider-Man a bone. Like, show people you actually pay attention to their.
The problem is that now you have 99.9% of the population going, what the hell? What is this?
Yeah.
Because they didn't have access to it. So now we're sitting here and we feel like fools because we're like, yo, what is this movie? Why haven't I seen it? You know what I mean?
I think I would say the reason that I think it's good to see something like Drive My Car In is because it shows us that some of those additional people that were added to the voting body are younger. They are not from America. So we're getting more of a worldwide glimpse. And so, I mean, for Paul Thomas Anderson even said hey, Drive My Car is the best movie of the year. And he put a movie out this year. So for him to be hey, if you don't see any other movie, you should see Drive My Car. So I think there's stuff like that where it's this is nice to see. What I don't like to see is I love Nightmare Alley. I mean, I watched it the other day, and this isn't, I would be okay with not seeing Nightmare Alley get nominated. Be okay with not seeing Licorice Pizza get nominated. You know what I mean? There's stuff like that it's these got nominated because of the old bro club. It's throw some of this younger stuff in there. Give us Spider-Man. I don't understand. They gave you Black Panther, and I saw on Twitter earlier today. Drive My Car has more Oscar nominations in this Oscar than the last 9 MCU movies have combined. So that takes you all the way back to Black Panther, and that's just ridiculous. Those movies have been pop culture, and I think the Academy just has their thumb off of that right now, which if that's not what they want to do, that's fine. You're not going to have a show on ABC in 5 years. Just, ABC is not going to pay for it.
They need to start realizing that had it not been for Marvel, theaters probably would have died.
Yeah.
If Disney straight up said we are not releasing Marvel movies in theaters, they were all good at Disney Plus, the theaters would have died.
Yep. And they would have had more people subscribe to Disney Plus. Did Kevin just get knocked out?
My camera. Am I still here? Can you hear me?
You're here, but your
face hold on. Golly.
But yeah, we'll talk about you. But if you look at the COVID numbers, Black Widow, highest grossing movie post COVID, and then Shang-Chi, highest grossing movie post COVID. And then Eternals wasn't as big a hit, but it wasn't a comic book movie. It was much more Dune-esque.
Yeah.
It's typical MCU. And
Chloe directed it, right?
Yeah. And then Spider-Man is about to break Avatar's record. And if they ever do a re-release of Spider-Man, a director's cut extended edition, it'll blow everything out of the water. Because I'll see it again. I saw it twice in theaters.
I would see it 2 more times in theaters, I bet. Yeah. Especially if they release it in IMAX, because I just watched it in Conyers, and you know how crappy that theater is. So if you give me a chance to go see that in IMAX, I will hook, line, sinker, I'll be there. But I don't know if you remember 3 or 4 years ago they talked about doing a most popular Oscar, and it was one of those that some people were dramatically fade in. Some people were like, no, this is dumb. We shouldn't do that. I really do think they need to expand and have another category or 2 to just kind of be maybe this is a best blockbuster where it's only movies that made over, with COVID, you might have to back it off, but over $75 million. That way you also influence movies to keep being released, but you also have people go watch the Globes do it. They split it into best dramatic and best comedic, I think.
Yeah,
they do.
They do.
Why don't we have?
They do comedic and musicals, and then best in a drama.
That's what it is.
And
for the Oscars,
I would rather than see them do it like the Golden Globe and do dramatic and musical comedy. Because my biggest fear is if you put in a most popular, then you have to explain to us why the most popular movie isn't best picture.
Yeah.
And you're not going to nominate it for best picture.
Yeah, I think there would be smarter people that could word it better so it's not most popular. And that's why I think like maybe like best blockbuster or something like, because I mean, you could very easily say, I mean, Dune made $107 million in blockbuster this year. It would be nominated for best picture, and it would probably be nominated for best blockbuster. Right. And then it would make sense. Where like, no, this movie is just that good. And then, you know, if it was like, oh, Spider-Man got nominated for best blockbuster, but not best picture, people would be like, I mean, okay, that makes sense. Like, it might not be y'all's artsy fartsy movie that you want, but guess what? It's a great movie, and everyone went out to see it. Yeah. And then you also get more viewers. So
yeah, I think the Oscars, like you said, has to do something to get back to the general public, because people who don't watch movies, and I mean, I know people, like I say that with parentheses, like there's a difference between watching a lot of Netflix movies and then watching these movies. Yeah, these movies are effort. Like Power of the Dog is a tough 2 hours.
That's a watch.
It is not a movie you sit down, and I watched it with my family, and
that's
I think
apparently how dry my car is too.
Yeah, like I watched Power of the Dog with my family, and I think I was the only one that enjoyed it. So yeah, unless you get a category where people who loosely like watch the popular stuff, then no, they're not going to turn to the Oscars to watch 10 movies that they've never heard of before.
Yeah, and I doubt that unless you're a fan of like Shakespeare, even Denzel fans probably won't watch The Tragedy of Macbeth.
No,
like,
I mean, wait, what were you gonna say?
I think Apple was really smart with that, because that's a very like clickbait movie in my opinion. It's like, hey, we got one of the Coen brothers. We got Denzel Washington. You know what Macbeth is. It's black and white. We're going to release all these frames so it looks cool. You'll click on it, watch the first 5 minutes, and be like, I'm not watching this shit, and then turn it off and go back to watching Ted Lasso. Like, that's exactly, you know what I mean? Like, that's
it's funny you say that, because I watched it when I went home, and my mom came in and she watched like the first 15 minutes of it, and then she was like, are you watching this because you have to for your podcast? And it's one of those things that, like, at the end of it, she said, you know, it was interesting how they portrayed the movie, because I mean, she's familiar with Macbeth, but it is 100%. If I had not already started that movie before she came into the room, there's no way I would have watched that movie.
Yep.
Because
I mean, who wants to watch freaking Dudley take over freaking Scotland, man? That was probably the thing that pissed me off the most. Was
A24, like, that's their whole niche.
They love
is weird.
That's like my biggest gripe with Barrett on his movies for 2021 was Green Knight. I was not a Green Knight fan at all.
Thank you. I was just about to ask you.
Yeah, I was one of them. I got plenty of gripes with you, Kevin. Don't think that you're.
I watched The Godfather. It was an amazing movie. Okay,
The Green Knight, I was super pumped for, because they were like, "Oh, this is gonna be like the indie version of the Lord of the Rings, and it's gonna be this epic."
It was over.
I bought the poems, and then it was in Old English, and I had to listen to some smart professor, I think he's from like University of Wisconsin, which made me mad. And I had to listen to him read it to me and explain it, because I was like, I can't read Old English. Like I didn't go to college for a reason. Like, and so like, so then I was like, all right, I got through this. This is going to be pretty dope. And then I watched the movie, and I was like, well, they did the end good.
There's a lot of soapboxes and a lot of fights I'll pick. I get people not liking Green Knight. I thought the aesthetics of Green Knight were, that was my favorite part of the movie. I like the greens. I like the autumn. I like the natural landscape, which A24 does historically well. If you've seen like The Witch and stuff.
Yes,
but we
call it the Vitch.
The Vitch. Yeah,
the Vavitch, because it's actually spelled T, like with 2 V's, so it looks weird.
Yeah.
So you
call it the Vavitch. I didn't pick up that either. But you know, A24 is just, it could probably be a topic in itself. Like, I weirdly enjoy their movies. I can't say that, like, man, those movies are awesome, but I walk out of the theaters like, I didn't hate it, and then the more I think about it, I'm like, oh, I actually like how they did that. And then I just go back and watch them again. And the next movie I see, I'm like,
Yeah,
I didn't hate it.
I actually enjoyed the tragedy of Macbeth more than I enjoyed the Green Knight personally.
I'm the opposite.
And I don't know, same studio, right? But I just thought that the not to say that the acting in Green Knight was bad, because the acting in Green Knight was actually my favorite part.
Yeah, Dev Patel was good.
Dev Patel was amazing. He actually, if you remember in my awards, he was nominated. I nominated Dev Patel. And for me to nominate a guy like that for a movie that I really didn't like, that says a lot about what he did. I thought overall, the overall acting from the tragedy of Macbeth was better, personally.
I mean, that's fair.
So, and that's, I don't
You
know.
have the most successful woman one of the most successful woman actors of all time, and freaking Denzel in there. So I'd hope it is.
Denzel who? What?
Denzel who says.
Yeah.
But the only thing that scares me, just to wrap up our A24, the only thing that scares me about A24 is they have that movie, The Norseman, coming out, made by the same guy that made The Vivitch, and he made Lighthouse.
Is The Northman A24?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And so that scares me, because when you see that trailer, it's like, is this trailer just cut to look super dope?
and then you go to see it and you're like, what the fuck did I just watch?
Or am I going to...
And especially William Dafoe's in it, so you don't know what the hell you're about to see. Like
William Dafoe's in it, Anna Taylor-Joy, like the space rocket she is right now, like she's just going to be one of the biggest movie stars in the world in the next 3 years, I bet. But if that movie sucks, man, it'll be a backbreaker for me.
Yeah, I'll say this about A24: they hit young talent early, because The Witch was Anna Taylor-Joy.
Yeah, she's like 15 or something in that movie.
Yeah, so they say, and then they have a new movie coming out called X, with Kid Cudi and Jenna Ortega. And Jenna Ortega was one of the leads in Scream, and then she just had a new movie come out on HBO, which I want to watch, called Fallout. And so I think they find good young actors. And X is going to be weird. So if you go watch the trailer, just go ahead and know it.
Yeah, I'm reading the synopsis right now. In 1979, a group of young filmmakers set out to make an adult film in a secluded farmhouse in rural Texas.
Oh, yes.
Take a special interest in their young guests, and as night falls, the couple's leering interest takes a violent turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does look weird. I forgot.
Okay.
I didn't know what you were talking about at first, but when you said that looks like a...
Did it come out at Sundance or something?
No, I don't think so. I saw a trailer for it. My Facebook listens to everything I talk about, so I get like indie news articles pop up all the time.
It's got ratings on. It's got ratings on Letterboxd already, and we got 4 5 stars, 6 3.5, and 2 half stars.
Yeah, well, you see, that's the A24 spectrum, because A24 movies, like The Witch was like a 99 on Rotten Tomatoes, and I watched it and I was like, dude, this movie is so weird.
I will defend Black Phillip until the day I die. Man.
Well, Black Phillip was awesome, but 99%, like I was expecting to have my socks rocked off, and then I turned off the movie, and Andrew and I just looked at each other like,
oh, dude, this movie is going to be freaky. It's got the director of The Sacrament and the VHS movies. I don't know if you guys have seen the VHS movies.
I saw VHS at Sundance.
Okay, so that same director, Ty West, is doing that movie. That's going to be bonkers.
It's going to be.
Thank you for putting me on that one.
But I'll see it.
Screw it. I mean, what else am I going to do?
It'll get watched.
Yeah.
Cool.
But Best Picture. What are the odds on?
Yeah, I was going to say, you got the odds.
Oh, yeah, the odds on that. So your favorite right now is Power of the Dog at plus 120.
Yeah.
And then Belfast is plus 225.
Wait, plus 120 is the favorite?
Yeah, because, it's not very – Belfast for a long time was the favorite. And then when the Guild Awards kind of came out, Belfast kind of dropped a little bit. West Side Story got a big bump today, actually. It's up to 300. It's up plus 300 right now. So if you were betting, that's 3-1 odds. That's not too shabby. Yeah. Nightmare Alley is actually our biggest underdog with plus 3,500. So you bet 100, you win 3,500. So if If you want to bet.
If you got $100 to throw around.
Yeah, or throw $10 on Nightmare Alley, you win 350. So
yeah, it's also really weird that Nightmare Alley got nominated for a couple things, and there's no Guillermo del Toro anywhere.
Where's
they
Dune
made
at?
they
or Bradley
push
Cooper.
for that movie. Yeah,
I really
thought we would see it's on HBO Max and Hulu right now, so it's very easy to. I think it's the most logged movie on Letterboxd in the past week. So
Nightmare Alley.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
Kevin, you should watch that one.
I will.
If I have to give you homework for you to watch next Monday, you need to watch Nightmare Alley.
Yeah,
Jared's already seen it, so I can't.
I watched that movie by myself. Like, I just walked into the theater because I don't know what was going on. I think Kevin was at church and I didn't have anything to do on a Sunday, or maybe it was a Monday afternoon because I'm off on Mondays and no one else is. So I walked into Nightmare Alley and it was like me and one other person. And
you like Guillermo del Toro though, like that's.
Dude, Pan's Labyrinth is probably one of the best movies ever made.
Oh.
Jared, have you seen Shape of Water yet?
I have not seen Shape of Water, but I need to.
Okay. Shape of Water is like a underrated. I mean, it won Best Picture, so I guess you couldn't really say it's underrated, but it probably shouldn't have won Best Picture.
That's fair. That happens a lot.
I love that movie. Yeah. Yes, it does. That's what people are like. Why do you care about the Oscars? No, the right movie never wins. I was like, because when it doesn't, it's like when Parasite won, it's like the most thrilling thing in the world because you're like, oh my God, they got it right. Like, this is actually what everyone agrees is the best movie of the year. Like, this is great. So,
where was Dune?
Unfortunately,
where was Dune at on your odds?
What's that?
Where was Dune at? As
far as odds Dune is at plus 1,000. So,
dang, that's rough.
That's
We still got nominated though.
Yeah. And it'll probably win some technical awards, but that's definitely the movie that I rewatched last year. Score, yeah. Which the little guy named
Snub.
For best
you have
picture?
A snub?
I have a snub, not for this. For another category we didn't discuss. I hate that Raya and the Last Dragon was even nominated because I hated that movie. It was trash. Okay. Ron's gone wrong. Yeah. That's what I wanted to see. It's just not there.
You can probably thank your boy Jim Parsons for that not getting nominated.
Thank you for Mitchell's versus the Machines. Appreciate that, but like, get it right, you know.
Anyway,
I have Mitchell's versus Machines as my 9th best movie of the year. Best movie of the year.
I will say this. I will say this right now. Mark it down. February 8th, 2022, and this is how confident I am. If Into the Spider-Verse 2 gets snubbed from the next Oscars, I will have a conniption.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I don't know. It's going to have to contend with Lightyear.
Oh, Lightyear's good.
Yeah.
I just want it. I just need it nominated. But I think
talking about Best Picture.
I thought
you were talking about Best Animated Film. You talking about Best Picture?
I'm talking about animated film. Yeah. There's no way. There's no way they put into this. There's no way they put Into the Spider-Verse as Best Picture.
Not 1990 anymore.
I literally read an article the other day where every universe has a different art director for Into the Spider-Verse 2.
It's insane.
Yeah. So every time you go, it's going to be a different style of art. And that enough gives me enough faith because Into the Spider-Verse Until No Way Home was the best Spider-Man movie ever made. Best animated movie ever made.
Absolutely.
I'll die on that hill. I still think the Spider-Verse is better than No Way Home, but
that's fair, and that's a fair opinion. I won't fight you on that.
I didn't watch it for my Spider-Man rewatches, but I really wanted to.
The Spider-Man rewatches were the best thing I ever did going into No Way Home.
Yeah, they were so much because then you went into the movie and you were just like, I recognize every single thing that's happening right now. This is cool.
Yeah, they just connected all the dots I needed.
Yep.
All right, so I think that about wraps up our awards. Did we have anything we wanted to say as far as snubs or nominations goes?
No, unless Dan, you got anything?
No, I do not. I think as far as the big six go, the only other snub that I would say would be in the documentary category for them to not put The Rescue on there is absolutely ridiculous. Well, if you guys haven't seen that, it's on.
I thought it was weird that Val didn't get nominated either.
Yeah. Well, and was it Flea is like the first movie to ever get nominated for Best Animated, Best Documentary, and Best Foreign, I think was the other one. So there's like a weird category that it got nominated for. But yeah, I think The Rescue not getting nominated, it feels like the only reason it didn't get nominated was because the directors have already won the award because they're the same guys. Or I'm sorry, I shouldn't say guys. They're the same group that made was it the cliffhanger movie Free Solo. So they're the same people that made that movie, and it feels like the only reason they didn't get nominated is because they already won. Whereas, The Rescue is, I know people who have it as their third favorite movie of the year, and it was in the top 20 for me. I mean, if you haven't watched it, I would say go watch it because it's one of the, like, I think I cried twice in it. I mean, it's just like the stuff that happens in it is otherworldly.
Nat Geographic just picked up a big documentary. They bought it at Sundance this year about some people studying volcanoes.
It's like the fire dancers or something like that.
Yeah, so they've been pretty strong on their documentary game lately, so good for them.
Oh, it's called Fire of Love.
Yeah. It's about a couple studying volcanoes.
It's two couples that discover volcanoes together. And apparently you learn a lot about volcanoes.
Yeah.
So
I learned a lot about volcanoes by watching what was that movie? Where the kid and the volcano in class where he's talking about the volcanoes?
The Tomorrow War.
The Tomorrow War. Thank you.
No.
Yeah, learned a lot about volcanoes then. There you go.
That's true. They can hide aliens.
Wait, Dane, before you go, though, I do have a question for you since you seem to have a list handy. Your top 10 movies of the year, what were they? Do you have that with you now?
I do. I actually just added one to the list today, so that's a little so I got I'll go 10 back. How about that?
Oh, perfect.
So my number 10 was actually Bo Burnham's Inside, which is what Jared just watched. I don't know if you would consider it a movie or not, but I absolutely love it. I mean, I think like you guys, I'm a big sucker for musicals. Is Jared alive? Okay, I thought he was asleep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had Bo Burnham at number 10. Had The Power of the Dog at number 9. I had Tick Tick Boom at number 8. Belfast at my numbers are wrong. 10, 9, 8. No, it's not. I had Spider-Man No Way Home at 6. Then the movie that I just watched called Raging Fire, I had it at number 5. Judas and the Black Messiah, which got nominated last year, but technically had a release date of this year. I think it was like January of this year, so I considered it a 2021 movie. That had that at number 4. West Side Story at number 3. The Last Duel at number 2. And the almighty, This Is My Sand, This Is My Spice, This Is My Dune at number 1.
I think that is a fair list.
I have seen Dune 8 times this year. So
that's awesome.
Whenever I want to watch it, it goes in the Xbox. So
there you go. Well, Jared, I believe that's everything I got, buddy. If you want to give the people what our new movie of the week this week will be, and then we can.
Yeah. So we didn't just think it deserved an entire segment because it's not a ton to talk about. Jackass Forever was good. If you like the Jackass movies, go see Jackass Forever. If you don't like grotesque things, do not go see Jackass
Well, it's
Forever.
just a matter of if you've seen any of the other Jackass movies and you had a good time, go watch it. If you didn't, don't watch it. And that's
that sums up the entire movie.
That's it. I mean, it's a Jackass film.
Yeah. That's fair.
Period. That is all.
Yeah, we didn't need that long. As far as movies go, this week we have Death on the Nile.
Oh, yeah, we do. Gal Gadot.
And then if you are looking for a little more romantic side, we have Will You Marry Me? Or Marry Me, the new Jennifer Lopez Owen Wilson movie.
Never thought you'd say that, huh?
Yeah, not in 2022, I didn't. But February is actually a big month.
Fall into this role.
Yeah. My biggest concern is I think on the 18th we have Uncharted and Ambulance that
We'll
come
watch
out.
both.
Yeah.
We'll be watching both. It'll be a double feature. I don't care what Jared says. That's what we're gonna do.
Did you act
look amazing?
Did you act like I won't spend an entire day in a movie theater?
No, I know you will. I'm just saying, like, I'm just getting it out there. Both of those movies look amazing. I'm watching both of those movies, and that's it.
I am on the Tom Holland train. Speaking of Tom Holland, him and Zendaya just bought a house
Mark
together.
Wahlberg.
So, yeah, they're serious.
Uh-oh.
And then speaking of Zendaya, Kevin, our next binge-worthy topic is
we got
Euphoria.
Euphoria. All right, cool. I don't know anything about it, so
yeah. Well, then I'm not going to tell you anything about it because that's probably safest.
Euphoria, me-phoria, whatever. Watching it.
Well, Dane, thank you so much. This is, I'm sure, not the last time we will have you on this podcast. So be ready for the bat signal. Sure.
The only thing about being on the podcast is one, it's live, but I don't get to hear the awesome exit song. I love the I love it so much.
I've been struggling so hard to figure out a way to edit that because I am.
Dane, it makes my heart so happy to hear you say that, because if people truly understood how difficult it was to get those, like, the intro and the outro to, like, line up with our, it was a whole ordeal. It took me to edit everything, like, and upload, like, 4 to 6 hours. And so,
well,
I
absolutely love that song. There'll be times when I'm like, all right, I don't really care what they're talking about. I'm gonna wait till the end just so I can hear this song, and I'll let it. The song, I'm just like, let's go.
It'll always be on the podcast episode,
yeah,
because I have those preloaded, and it's not nearly as hard to edit the podcast as it is a live video.
Yeah, it's
for sure.
Crap. You just save the audio sound, and it's it's there.
Thank you, Anchor.
Yeah.
Kevin?
So what?
I said you do it then, Kevin.
I've done it before. When we first started, I was doing, but then I just passed it to Jared. Then I got stuck with the video editing,
and then
which was
passed it to Jared.
Well, first, no, that's not it necessarily.
Right, well, I'm gonna let you guys. We'll do this off air. That way, people don't have to watch our couples counseling.
Go ahead, Jared.
As can't end the show without thanking everyone. Thank you guys who popped in, watched live with us. If you guys do watch this, please like and subscribe. We're kind of pushing our YouTube a little harder right now. We think it's better content than just the Spotify. We do still put all the episodes up on Spotify. We have Facebook, Silence Your Cell Phones, subcategory podcast if you want to hop in, join some discussions we have in there. We have our Instagram at Silence Your Cell Phones, Twitter, if you just Google Silence Your Cell Phone podcast, but it is Silenced Phones.
Yep, that's the handle.
Handle there. And then if you guys do want to email, we do have a Gmail at silenceyourcellphone, nos@gmail.com. Again, thank you guys. Please share this. We do have a bunch of big things in the pipes coming down this year. We're kind of hitting our stride. That's crazy to think we're almost at a year in like 3 months.
Yeah, I do want to say one thing real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Another thing that we have, if you enjoyed the podcast, obviously want you to like and subscribe. We also have a Patreon. We would love for you guys to become more active in our community. So if you go to patreon.com/silence your cell phones, we're also there as well. So I just wanted to throw that out too.
Yeah. Well, as always, guys, we will be back to our regular Wednesdays next week. Until then, and sing.
Da-da-da.